Everyone, welcome back. As promised, we're going to get right into making this Citroen HY van. I just want to give a big shout out to my buddy Urs Koller over in Switzerland for supplying me with the beautiful images of his van. This is going to be far more technical than some of the other things I've done. So we're going to try and be as organized as possible. We're going to try some new things, so you're going to have to bear with me. There's some mistakes will be made, but what I want to do is I want to just quickly give you the breakdown on how I lay out the plan for building the model from scratch. So we need to establish kind of a substructure, or at least think about the substructure that we're going to have underneath. I think the van, we're going to build the substructure out of plywood, and then we're going to use the CNC machine to cut out the panel designs for the sides, and then the little tiny details, the lights and mirrors and wheels, we're going to send that all through the 3D printer. So what I've done is I've taken an image and I've tweaked it out a little bit because I want to give a little bit larger of a cab area just in case I'm going to animate a figure inside the van. I don't think it will be that much because the van is going to be more on the peripheral of the shots that are in the script. So I don't want to focus too much on the details inside the van at the moment. We'll come to that in some later episodes. But for right now, I just want to show you how I go about laying out the construction of a model. And I kind of use this technique for almost everything. So we'll just get right into it. So I take the original image and then I just skew it a little bit. Like I said, I want to make it a little bit more of a caricature. And then when I'm done with that, I'll take it and then I'll knock the opacity down and isolate the lines of the entire van. And then I'll just do that with all of the different angles, front, back, side, of course, mirroring the other sides. But one of the key things that I want to get out of this is I want the chassis, because it will need to be animated. The truck will need to roll through the scene. It'll be more or less in the background. So I've gone in and I've put the different views, overhead view, side view, front, back, and established pretty closely what chassis that we're going to build this all on. And like I said, I'll cut this out of plywood. The wheels and tires, those will be 3D printed. I will set up the mechanics later on of how the front wheels will turn. And so let me just quickly go through the process of how I establish these drawings. So it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. I will just go in with just simply a pen tool with black ink, or brush tool, doesn't really matter. And I'll just isolate out the panels. So I just redraw the entire thing. I'll sketch over my image. And you know, you have an assortment of different drawing tools here. So I will go through and I will just quickly sketch out the main lines of the van. And I'll also establish different line weights depending on the interest that I want to take with whatever panel I'm working on. You can do this in probably better even in a vector program. So I'll do something like that, and then I really like the lazy mouse tool. It is definitely a favorite. So I'm just going to quickly rush through this because I think you get the idea. And also, I can point out now, I'm trying to extract two-dimensional information from a photograph that's in a perspective. So I'm pretty sure the fender wells, they stand out off the sides a little bit further, and I'll compensate for that later. But when we get into the 3D program, those things are going to be more and more apparent, and we'll be able to fine-tune and adjust. And now we're going to take the images over into the 3D program, and we're going to set them up, and we're going to start roughing in the van. And then we're going to go into initialize. and we're gonna create really a basic cube. And now we're gonna set up our source images on our work planes. I covered this in some other episodes. We're gonna go ahead and we'll do left, right, map 1, import. Now we're going to go in and we're going to make our front back image, map 1, import. And we just need that for right now. So what we're going to do is use the ZModeler brush, and this is quite a powerful tool for roughing in an object. Okay, and I think for this I want to project the image onto the object so they can see what I'm working on. So we're going to go into Draw, and then we're going to go to Project on Mesh. And then we're going to just scroll that up until we start to see the van appear. Now, one strange thing that happens is you lose the ability to move and adjust your image once you've done that. So if you want to go back in and make those adjustments, you have to knock it back down again so that it's not projected on the mesh, and then you can go in and adjust your image if you want to. Now we can see that there are some basic areas where we want to add geometry, where things are going to be changing. So what we can do is we can just hover over the edge, hold down the space bar, and then we're going to go insert, and that's going to insert an edge loop. Okay. As we click on the edge, it's going to allow us to scroll back and forth, and then when you release, it'll drop it right where we want it. Okay. Then I think I'm going to add another one here. And here. For right now, that will be sufficient, I think. And now what I want to do is I want to hit X to turn on symmetry. You have to be careful with the ZModeler brush and the symmetry being on, because it can confuse the functionality of the tool a little bit. So certain actions that you make, you'll get very unusual outcomes from it. So it's something to just pay attention to, when I come across some issues that you'll have, I'll point them out to you. But for now, what we want to do is we want to start pushing and moving things around until we get them to more or less line up with our source image that we have underneath. There's a top to the van here that has a curved surface to it. I think we're gonna make that with a different piece of geometry. So what we're gonna do right now is we're just gonna focus on making the more angular sections at the moment, and then we'll add in those curved elements later. So now what I wanna do is I wanna hover over this edge. I've got the symmetry tool on, and I'm gonna hover over that edge. I'm gonna hold down the space bar. I wanna go down to move, and then I just wanna click on it and then push it back. And what that'll do, because I have the symmetry tool on, it'll maintain everything. Nothing will get out of whack. As long as I'm clicking on an edge, everything will move evenly. I won't get any uneven planes or anything like that. So that's what's important about having the symmetry tool on for this. And then I want to grab this edge and I want to pull it out a little bit, because I can see, now I know exactly where I want it to go. So I'll just go in and get as close as possible. And then I can see here, I'm gonna need another piece of geometry. I'm gonna hover over the edge, and I'm gonna go insert again, and I'm gonna put this one about here, and I'm gonna put that one about there. And then again, I wanna hold the space bar down, I wanna go to move, and then I wanna grab that edge, and I wanna pull it up, and I wanna find the front of the front edge of the hood. And for this one, I want to just keep it there. And this is going to be the lower, I guess, front bumper. And we're just gonna get it close for right now. Okay, that looks good. Now I wanna take this up. And here you see we have two different, we have this plane, and then it jogs up and makes another. It's almost two separate pieces. And we probably could do it like that. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another piece of geometry here, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and come down to this one. And then I'm gonna hover over this, and we're using the Q mesh tool. And that looks good. And then I'm gonna hover over that edge. Give it a look underneath. Looks good. Come back down. And here, I just want to move this out of the way so I can see what's going on underneath. I want that edge. There. Boom. And this one we'll just take in. And this is, you know, you can do whatever you want. This is your model. You can skew it and warp it and make it as exaggerated as you want. So you might come across something that you like that just gives it a nice look. So you don't have to stick hard to the source material that you have. This process, you know, you do discover new things sometimes, which are quite interesting. Okay, so you can see that we've got more or less a rough outline 3D object. I would like to have these these lines of geometry. I would really like better edge flow, and I would like them to correspond with the panels that we have on the truck. I'm really not happy with the way this is going at the moment. I think I want to break it up and add another edge in there. So now though, let's go ahead and I will show you another great tool. So if we want to, say, get this edge to come up and line up with this other panel, we just hover over the edge, hit the space bar, and then we want to go to slide, and then when you click on it, it will slide. It won't move anything but that edge geometry. And then this one, I want to go ahead and slide it up and get it as nicely lined up with that as panel lines as possible. That is still a little bit low, so let's move it up. And I'm not happy with that one either. Let's get that one up. I like that that's coming right over the top of the fender well.